Another Misery Monday. We're getting used to it. That is 5 of the last 6 times. Misery Monday, presented by Chiniga Mayos. Join the mission at careers with MIOS.com. We'll be dissecting the latest Commanders loss throughout the show. We've got John Keim at 7 o'clock from ESPN.com. Kevin Sheehan's going to jump on at 8:25. And we've got Pro Bowl defensive tackle Jonathan Allen. Let me say this first. I said this a couple weeks ago. The defense, trade them all. Trade them all. Trade them all. Whoever, anybody wants, trade them all, because regardless of resume, regardless of where they were drafted, they can't defend. And I like Jonathan Allen. And Chase Young has had flashes. And Montez Sweat has had flashes. Trade them. Anybody want them? Trade them, because their defense blows.
I wish you would tell Jonathan Allen that today at 9 o'clock.
I mean, and the score could have been worse. I mean, somehow they fumbled with the brotherly shove on the half-yard line. I mean,
they also had a fumble at the 2-yard line.
Yeah. The score could have been 50, fill in the blank, to 31. Could have been. It was lucky it actually was only 38 points as they surrendered.
Mr. Bickle, it's not Moral Victory Monday?
No, I told you at the time when they had their moral victory against them in
there'd be no more.
that there was no more.
There was no more.
They already proved to me that they could compete with good teams. The thing that irritates me is, why do we play up to competition down? Like, I fully expect. I see a lot of encouraging signs. The defense is a mess for sure, but to me, I've said this all season. It's about finding your quarterback, and today's another feather in Sam Howell's
It's one
cap.
of your days. Yes,
It's another. Yeah, and so. To me, it's all about finding the quarterback. It was a good day in that sense, but I just get annoyed. Like, I fully expect them to have a dud next week.
The league is so weird.
The Patriots aren't good, and we will play down to the competition.
The league is so weird.
That's very annoying.
And the weirdest part about the Commanders in this particular game is, why wasn't this there against the Giants? Why were they not able to protect against the Giants? Why couldn't they throw a quick game against the Giants?
Right, people
like
are
all these things. We questioned like 3 or 4 things last week. We questioned Eric Bieniemy a lot. We questioned the offensive line. We questioned where's Jahan Dotson, and it's like all those things were answered. But the defense, wow, they forced 2 punts.
The defense is flawed, obviously, but like, people want to give Bieniemy credit. And I guess on some level you give him credit because it was a well-called game, but he should have done this a month ago.
Correct.
5 weeks ago. I mean, it's literally anybody, you'd have an IQ of about 75, and you can say, okay, we obviously can't do long developing plays here. We need quick game. We need delayed handoffs. We need screens. We need to move the pocket.
They had a fullback in the game.
They did all the right things. You know, and Sam made some mistakes, sure. But for the most part, they did all the right things on offense. Why was that there 6 weeks ago?
Bieniemy was slow to pivot. He's slow to pivot to what the offense should look
strange.
like with a bad
annoying,
offensive line.
But give him a win, like in terms of the coordinators, his job, offense against their defense. Give him a win for yesterday. Sure. Against the Giants, he failed miserably. And the weird part to me is, I would have thought the Eagles, based on what they saw on film, would have employed a similar defensive tactic as the Giants. And they didn't. And I don't know if that's an arrogance.
We got rid of the ball so quick.
But I also think some of it is an arrogance, right? Kind of like the Commanders on the defensive side. And Jonathan Allen said this on our show. They felt like, we've got all these first-round picks. We don't need to blitz. And the Eagles probably have an arrogance like, we've got Sweat, we've got Reddick, we've got Jalen Carter. We don't need to bring extra people.
Well, I noticed they brought some extra guys at times.
I think in the second half they got a little more aggressive.
It was just getting picked up.
Especially at the very end.
Washington was picking it up.
And maybe the guys who played yesterday on the line, they had to make some personnel changes.
No, they were an upgrade.
An upgrade, which is crazy because you're halfway through the season. Why shouldn't you figure that out of training camp?
No. There's a lot to be upset about with that game. Also, obviously, the plays they should have challenged, the weird interference from the league on the one. Listen, nobody knows in the world if who was it, Dotson, whoever caught that ball.
Dotson, yeah.
Nobody in the world knows, but originally the officials called it a first down. They're moving the chains, and then inexplicably, and this is everything, I guess the league gets involved and says, no, it wasn't a catch. So now the onus is on us, and we have to have definitive proof. It's just, I hated the way that came down. I don't blame Ron for that one. I blame the league and the way it works. But the first one, when the whole team is pointing and saying challenge, and they're running hurry up so that you can't challenge it, you probably should challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't see the replay yet. You know what? I've seen you've made worse challenges when you've seen the replay.
You don't need to see the
trust
replay.
Your sideline.
How about you
trust them?
Trust your own instincts. Like if you're wrong,
he doesn't have it.
I don't think he knew.
If you have terrible instincts, go to the guy next to you, or just look at your sideline. Listen to the vibe that's going through your entire team.
Just look at the Eagles. They're racing, so you can't.
Why would you keep that in your pocket? You're a dead man anyway. Throw the red flag. Yeah. You're walking to the execution chamber as it is. Why would you keep it in your pocket?
Because he's thrown the red flag and lost.
Yeah.
He was afraid to lose it.
He's on the verge of losing everything.
He didn't want to lose a timeout. I'm not defending him. It was a terrible decision. I put up a poll. We can call it the Junkies poll of the day. Which decision from Ron Rivera did you think was the worst? Our polls of the day brought to you by Van Meter Homes. Because I thought in the first half when they have the lead, and I didn't hate them going for it, but you have roughly 2 minutes left. You have the ball. You can either kick a long field goal, go for it on 4th and 1, or punt. They decide to go for it, and they throw the pass. And Sam Howell, I think prior to that, only had one incompletion. I didn't love the pass play. Like 4th and 1, they're always in shotgun. And then immediately the Eagles get the ball back, and they go 65 yards and score in about a minute and 30 seconds.
I don't have a problem with him being in shotgun, but then they motioned the running back out. So that literally took run away unless Howell bootlegged.
Right. I didn't love the play call, but I don't know. In that situation, to give the Eagles a shorter field, and then they scored a touchdown when you have a lead where they were. Now, to their credit,
anyway,
the Commanders got the ball back and scored a field goal.
Yeah, they got a field goal, and the Eagles.
But still, that's a minus. To me, that was like a -4, so I question that decision. So poll today is, which decision do you think is worse? The challenge is going to run away with it. Already did. I mean, there's like 300 responses.
It's so much more egregious than the missing a 4th down. That was such a critical juncture of the game, too, the way that Philly had the momentum. And you knew that they were going to score again. You just knew with the way that that offense looked.
Yeah, they weren't going to stop him.
Even with Hurts not at 100%. I mean, Hurts was dragging his leg around.
He's not right.
In the game and still leading the team down the field. The red flag in your pocket, way worse.
The other decision you could put on Ron, you could ask is, why, if you're going to put Forbes back in there, why put him on the toughest receiver to cover currently right now in the NFL? The receiver.
Nobody's covering him.
Right. But don't shatter the kid's confidence. Put him on somebody else. Put St. Juiced on there. And listen, I think at all those plays where Brown made those plays, for the most part, we had pretty good coverage.
Yep.
I don't even have a problem with it. But you're just asking. You're setting the kid up to fail.
Give your guy
Put
the
him
best
on somebody else.
The best physical traits at that point.
But the safety,
like the bigger
I don't
guy.
know who the safety was coming over the top. He's got to get there a little sooner.
Yeah.
I think it was Martin on one.
Maybe it was Martin. I don't know if it was Martin on that play, but he's got to get there a little quicker.
Del Rio's grasping at straws. They gave up 28 points in the second half, and as Cakes mentioned, you had a fumble on the 1-yard line. Could have easily been 35.
But I'm
going to
give him credit. I'm going to give him credit.
2 fumbles.
I'm going to give him credit for causing the turnovers. I'm going to give him credit for that.
Okay. You still gave up 38 points.
Yeah, a team built around its defense
but
is
I'm giving
allowing
him credit for creating
they're allowing
those
nearly
turnovers.
29 points per game.
I'm not saying the defense is good.
You got to give them an F.
They had some moments.
Their defense, this is basically the halfway point of the season. It's odd now because you have 17.
It's the halfway point.
They're at the halfway point in the season. And in terms of points per game, they are giving up as a team 28.5 points.
Bottom 3 defense.
Correct.
It's just such familiar territory to be 7 or 8 weeks, whatever we are, into the season and to be all hell breaking loose right before the trade deadline, names swirling. I actually thought when I got back from Boston, I was like just reading all the comments of what's going on. I was like, man, we're going to be lucky not to just lose by 50.
Trade them all, EB. Trade them all.
Oh,
I heard, I don't know if this is true. Somebody had tweeted that I thought it was Jay Glazer, maybe it was another insider, reported that the Montez Sweat rumor was a second-round pick.
No, I
Jump
saw
all
third.
over it.
I saw third-round pick, not second.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that was an update, but
We'll see. Maybe it increases.
No, the ask is a second. The offer is a third. The ask is a second.
Yeah.
The offer is allegedly a third.
oh, and the cherry on top yesterday was the massive fan invasion by the Eagles fans.
But you're not surprised by that.
Not surprised by it because it's going to take a couple years of sustained winning by the new ownership group to phase that out. That's rot left over from the Dan Snyder era and the fan base deteriorating over the last.
But it's
well,
just
no,
10
what
15
cures that
years.
is you start winning divisions.
Yeah,
That's what cures
right.
it.
It keeps the other fans out.
And that's not gonna happen
build
anytime
up your
soon.
season ticket base. Like, yeah, that was disturbing to see too.
But
expected.
I did see Rick Snyder say it was 80% Eagles fans, and he said, "Don't lie to me. I have a bird's eye view.
Right. I mean,
I can see every
I
section."
mean, it sounded like it was 80% when Sam Howell's having a hard time hearing signals in his ears.
I know, real quick, I know everyone's piling on the defense, and I've seen 38 points mentioned a billion times on social media. Some of that's unfair, though. They gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter, and two of those touchdowns came inside their own red zone because of turnovers.
Yeah, that's true.
They started at the 8-yard, the Commanders' 8-yard line and the Commanders' 16-yard line.
Yeah.
That's huge. They didn't drive the
Yeah,
length
I mean,
of the
those
field.
are
They
like-
No, but I guess the
one
point
play,
is, Matt,
one of them was one play. They hand the ball to Swift for a touchdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but 8 games in.
That was a brilliant
Drab,
call,
8
by the
games
way.
into the
I'm talking
season.
yesterday.
I
I'm not
understand.
talking 8 games.
It's part of the equation. 8 games in, the average is they are giving up 375 yards per game, which is 29th in the league, and they're giving up over 28 points per game, 31st in the
Both
league.
of you guys are making fine points. Both of you guys make good points.
They didn't play. The defense didn't play great, but they were put in some bad situations in the fourth quarter. Impossible situations.
To agree with Drab and just somewhat, like you got to give him credit for creating the fumbles, like especially like Cam Curl when he stripped them. Like,
Yeah.
you got to give him
That's a
credit for
nice
that.
play.
And then you know they worked all week on the tush push. They didn't do Valdez's technique.
Wish they did.
But you clearly
meet the
they
press.
disrupted the rhythm, and I'm giving them credit for that. So.
But I guess,
But
Matt,
Drab's point- in
Matt,
Drab's
I think
point's right.
I think you're right. I mean, they were put in bad spots, and Philly had to. But at some point, you got to make a stop, force a field goal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to make a
Well,
stop.
it was inside the 10-yard line.
You just got,
after the
but you
penalty.
have to come up big,
Yeah,
and
but
you
on
got to
the
make
other
a
ones
stop.
you could have. You can't have the miscommunication with Danny
Yeah.
Johnson and whatever. And, listen, A.J. Brown's a great player. He might be the best receiver right now in football.
He's unbelievable.
But we had pretty good coverage. You got to make a play on the ball. Like, you're there. As far as unless I'm crazy, and I don't know football, I'm not a defensive coordinator, but to me it looked like the guys were right there. They just got to make a play on the ball.
I mean, the
It's
back
all-
shoulder one-handed
The
catch was
one-handed,
pretty
okay.
amazing.
The
I don't know
one-handed,
how
you
you
can't-
stop that one.
That one you can't.
It's a great throw by
The other
Hurts.
two,
Great play by A.J. Brown.
I agree. The other two, you got to make a play.
Well, I mean, one was just like a busted coverage. I mean,
Yeah.
that's as easy as it gets. But for some reason, Washington offensively matches up well with Philly, but defensively they can't stop a nosebleed, man.
Yeah.
They
Well,
can't.
how do you score 7 points against the Giants and then score 31 against the Eagles?
They match up so much better against Philly than they do New York or Dallas. It's very strange.
I know, but
I
it's
mean,
beyond that.
the answers went Martindale. Martindale's blitzing attack against the
You
Commanders
can counter the
overwhelmed them.
blitz. They did it. You
I
can
know.
counter the blitz with play calling.
I
and all that.
agree
They
with
didn't
you.
do it.
I don't know where Eric Bieniemy's game
Well,
plan
and
was.
you know
It's
what?
like he listened to us.
Maybe
he
Phil-
listened to us on the radio.
I swear to God, I feel like they listen. I mean,
He
I know
listened and
they
he was like,
monitor.
"Hey, you know what? Maybe some delayed handoffs. Maybe some quick
And then, by the way,
passes."
because we criticize him, call him pontoon run, he goes for everything now. He goes for everything.
Except for the
Because-
challenge flag of Devontae Smith,
No,
which
you're
is
right.
mine.
Because he's listening right now, driving into the
But
park.
it's like we're on our own 20-yard line. We've got timeouts. We could play a game here. But no, we're going to go for everything.
Hey, good thing for Ron.
Go for everything
He can
now.
listen to the stream
And you know what else?
on the Odyssey app.
Philly's defense might not be that good.
No, it's not.
They might not be. It might be a lot of reputation
not
with
that
Philly's
good.
Well, they're
defense too.
good up front, I think.
They didn't do much.
It's true. But give us credit.
It makes no sense,
You gotta give
EB.
us some credit.
EB, it makes no sense. The Giants weren't even averaging 1 sack a game, and they had 6 sacks against the
Because-
Commanders. And then the Eagles, who've got Jalen Carter as the highest-rated defensive guy by PFF, and all of these guys, names they had 1 sack.
Right.
Well, he went out in the game at some point.
I understand.
He did, but I think maybe third quarter.
The larger
is
point
bad.
is, though, they've got a bunch of guys who do get after the quarterback, generally speaking.
Right?
No,
They have better talent than the Giants, is my point.
Way
This
better.
has been my team's. This has been their MO for years. Is play
3-5, couple road games. I said this last week. This could be the beginning of the rock bottom. I don't think Ron's getting fired this week, but you lose at New England, which is possible, and then you go to Seattle and you lose, and you're at 3-7. That's where I think maybe they pull the plug on Ron. It's inevitable. He's dead man walking,
Oh,
as
yeah.
Cake said. It's going to happen.
I'm more and
There's
more-
0%. It's a 0% likelihood that he's going to be the head coach in 2024.
Less than 0%. I think he makes it to the end of the year, barring like just
I
a
don't know.
string of embarrassing losses.
I don't know, Cakes, because you don't coach the offense, you don't coach the defense. You're supposed to manage the game, and you're so poor at that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like,
Why not just get somebody else in there to make the timeout calls and the challenges and oversee everything? I mean, why not just get somebody else to do it?
All right, we'll open up the phone lines.
Valdez would do a better job.
800-636-1067. It is a Misery Monday presented by Chiniga Mios. Join the mission at careers with MIOS.com. Your takeaways from another loss where the defense allows 38 points. They fall to the Eagles 38-31 and drop to 3-5.